All right, joining us right now is Dani Babb from the Babb Group. You're not convinced that the fall season will be good for housing. Why?
No, for a lot of reasons. First, historically, it's not a good time, as we know. It's been discussed.
Right.
Also, millennials are making up a large portion of first-time home buyers. We know that they're delaying purchasing for a number of reasons. They don't have the same opinion about home ownership. They have job uncertainty. They're not quite sure where they want to live. And they've also been largely priced out of the market. We have numbers that are 12% off the national peak. From the pre-bubble period. It's just too expensive. And even though rates are low, and I agree that overall it's still very cheap to buy, and in many cases it's cheaper to buy than rent, psychologically a person may feel as though something's too expensive, the rates went up half a percent, a quarter percent, and it may only make a $100 difference in payment, but to someone who's struggling or on the fence about buying, can make a big difference in the outcome.
Diana, let's try this one on for size. We did a survey of 1,000 people who are homeowners, and homeowners are happier where they are than ever before. How about this? They don't need to move up anymore. They don't need to keep up with the Joneses, and they don't need to sell. They're very happy right where they are.
Because you've seen renovation surge. You've also seen people who are underwater on their mortgages, or they don't want to lose that really low refinance rate. They got maybe a 2.5% or a 3% rate on a 15 or a 30-year fix when we were at the record low rates. They don't want to give up that, and they don't want the hassle of having to spend that extra money on broker's fees, moving fees, and then renovating a newer house. They're happy where they are because it's safe.
And the generation saddled with student debt. They have already got a monthly payment they have to make right now.
Well, and I do think there's a psychologically dampening effect with paying rent. You don't feel like you're investing anything for the long term. You feel like you're continually throwing money away. I met someone over the weekend who told me they're so sick of paying rent, this is in Brooklyn, New York, that she's getting interested in the tiny homes movement. Diana, have you heard of that? That's where you literally construct.
We've done lots of stories on tiny homes. Go to CNBC.com. You can find our stories on the tiny homes. It's a big movement, but it started out as being more in the green movement space. Now it's moving into the more economical space. I've seen some of these houses. They're amazing with the technology, what they can do inside to make a house that's,
with water
one
systems
tiny
and sewage
room,
and so on.
Everything. They've got solar panels. I'm serious. Go online, look at these stories. Good stuff.
The one thing, though, about the renting versus buying, I know you get tired of throwing all your money away on rent. Renting gives you flexibility.
Absolutely.
You lose your job, you can downsize
want.
immediately. You're not trapped in a house. And if you're uncertain about your job, that flexibility really can be very priceless and comforting.
We also have a large portion of investors still paying cash in this market. So we have 38% of homes being purchased with cash. So when these investors realize that their returns are not what they were the last couple of years, and they start slowing down their investment into the market, I think we'll start to see inventory go up, prices go down a bit. That will be overall positive for the market. Not great for fall, like the Redfin report suggests, but I think overall that's positive for the market as we can find some new equilibrium.
All right, got to go. Michael, you've been trying to make a point here.
Yeah, and I think it's really clear, and John Stump said it last week. The reason
CEO of
why,
Wells Fargo.
The CEO of Wells Fargo, the reason why we have to have 40% of the market cash buyers is people cannot get mortgages. The reason they can't get mortgages is that the government is putting back any loan that goes bad to the originator.
If you can't afford a mortgage, how are you going to come up with cash?
Look, it is not. It's as simple. It's simpler than that. They will not make a loan that has any chance of going bad because Fannie Mae and Ginnie Mae have a free put back to the originator until the government clarifies the regulatory situation. Until they say, if you underwrite to this standard, if the loan goes bad, we'll keep it. Until you get that kind of clarity, you're not going to make loans to these first-time buyers.
Very good point.
That was Barney Frank's intention, though, with that whole thing. And
exactly.
Dodd-Frank, exactly. Thank you, ladies. Diana, Dani, thanks for joining us today. Appreciate it very much.